Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television, Lagos. A quick reminder of our top stories now. Military intensifies onslaught against armed bandits in Zamfara and neighboring states, kills 35 of them and rescues 40 hostages. Activists to mark the fifth anniversary of the abduction of Chibok's girls kicks off in Lagos. Bring Back Our Girls group calls for rescue of the remaining 112 girls. UNICEF calls for the protection of child rights, says that 3,500 children were recruited by non-state armed groups between 2013 and 2017 in Nigeria. Sudan's coup leader steps down as protesters remain on the streets of Khartoum in defiance of warning by the country's military. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you, and on YouTube.com/channelsweb you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news and updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature that you can use to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app and tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. Queues are gradually being formed at filling stations in some parts of Lagos, but the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the NNPC, says it is a mere panic buying as there won't be fuel scarcity. The Group General Manager, Public Affairs of the NNPC, Nduwu Madu, says in the statement that Nigerians should disregard social media reports of an impending fuel scarcity due to purported refusal of some of the oil marketers to lift products from depots. The statement explains that the tale is being fabricated by mischief makers with intent to create undue panic. The NNPC adds that it has over 1 billion litres of petrol in stock, while imports of 48 vessels of 50 million litres each have been committed for the month of April 2019 alone. The corporation says that emphatically that there is no need for panic buying or hoarding of petroleum products. The All Progressives Congress, the APC, is alleging that the People's Democratic Party's candidate in the 2019 presidential election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is not a citizen of Nigeria by birth and ought not to have been allowed in the first place to contest the elections. The APC made this claim today in response to the election petition filed before the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal by the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, at its presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The ruling party is also faulting the claim by the PDP and Alhaji Abubakar that they obtained the authentic results of the February 23, 2019 elections from the Independent National Electoral Commission's server, showing that they won the election. INEC had on February 27, 2019 declared the APC alongside its candidates President Muhammadu Buhari winner of the election with 15,191,847 votes to defeat his closest rival, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, whom it said polled 11,262,978 votes. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has given the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, former PDP Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio, and 55 other lawmakers until April the 17th to file their responses to a suit asking them to vacate their seats. The Legal Defense and Assistance Project, LEADAP, had sued the lawmakers seeking the declaration of the court that they were no longer members of the National Assembly, having defected to other political parties without proof of division before the expiration of their tenure. At the resumed hearing, Mr. Efut Sekoy announced appearance of the Senate and the senators, while Safia Mohammed announced appearance for the members of the House of Representatives. Lawyer to LEADAP, Mr. Jibrin Okutepa, describes the sudden change of counsel by the defendants as a ploy to frustrate the case, as he asked the court to ask Mr. Mahmoud Magaji, who announced the appearance the previous day, to argue his application. Justin Okonaban, after listening to all the parties, held that it is in the interest of justice to hear all counsels in the matter, and he subsequently adjourned further hearing to the 18th of April 2019. More stories now. Bauchi State Governor Muhammad Abubakar has filed a petition challenging the outcome of the governorship elections in Bauchi State after he congratulated the former FCT minister and governor-elect Bala Muhammad, who was announced winner in a keenly contested governorship elections in Bauchi State. The Bauchi State chairman of the APC, Uba Nana, led a team of party faithfuls to submit the petition at the tribunal sitting at the High Court complex in Bauchi to seek justice. The tribunal has so far received 30 petitions challenging governorship, state and national assembly elections in the state. You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, reaching you live from Lagos. Let's quickly shift our gears now to Abuja, where Magbe Ogun Yusuf is standing by to take us through a couple of more stories. Magbe.
Hello, Gimba. It's good to see you. And we welcome our viewers to our studios in the Federal Capital Territory. The National Assembly has released details of its expenditure in 2018. Details of the budget were released by the Office of the Senate President in a tweet today. Following pressure from human rights activists and civil society groups, Senate President Bukola Saraki had promised that details of the budget would be made public. According to the 45-page document, the 139 billion naira earmarked for the legislature, a total of 35 billion naira went to the Senate, while the House of Representatives had 57 billion naira. Legislative aids received 10 billion naira, the National Assembly Office 15 billion naira, while the NAS Commission got 2 billion naira. 4 billion naira went to the National Assembly Legislative Institute, while 1.1 billion naira was appropriated for the legislature's service-wide vote. Or you can find a breakdown of the National Assembly expenditure on our website, channelstv.com. Now, the federal government has restated its commitment to improving road transport infrastructure with a view to reducing road crashes as well as grow the economy. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, maintains that the government is increasing its spending on road infrastructure. According to him, over 1,000 kilometers of road were constructed in 2018. This is in addition to the 1,008 kilometers of roads and bridges rehabilitated in the same year. He was speaking at the commissioning ceremony of operations vehicles at the headquarters of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Abuja. The SGF insists that the purchase and commissioning of 74 operational vehicles for the Federal Road Safety Corps will enhance traffic control on the roads, reduce crashes, and ease the movement of goods and services across the country. Now, the National Human Rights Commission is asking government to consider the right to shelter of victims of evictions and demolitions by providing alternative accommodation for them and compensation before the demolitions. The Executive Secretary of the Commission made this known during a courtesy call to the Executive Secretary of the Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board in Abuja to partner with the board as an ally in ensuring the fundamental human right to shelter is protected. The Executive Secretary of the Loans Board explains that it is important that the housing needs of public servants are met to enable them perform their duties better.
The governing board of the Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board has recommended to the head of service, which he has approved, that we should increase our loan ceiling. Well, we have increased it, but we also look at the regulations operating in the Federal Public Service, especially the financial regulation, that indicates emphatically that a civil servant should not be owing more than 1/3 of their salary.
When you demolish, you ought.
And going to the southeast of the country, Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has unveiled the second phase of the state educational program aimed at enhancing literacy and improving the reading culture in schools. Governor Obiano is giving teachers in the state the assurance that he'll continue to provide the enabling environment that will ensure that education thrives in Anambra State.
Governor Willie Obiano arrives at the Community Education Center, Opuno, Oka South local government area of Anambra State. He is received by the administrative staff of schools and students across the state. Then the governor is decorated by the students just before their presentation. The reading skills exhibited by the children is the major reason the governor is here.
My dreams were horrible. Why was Mom so troubled? Why was...
The Commissioner for Basic Education in Anambra State, Professor Kate Amenuga, highlights the efforts to improve the reading culture.
We did a thorough research and we found out why our reading culture was declining. One of the things we actually found out, the area that we actually mostly affected, based on what we did, were mostly the riverine areas.
Governor Obiano sees reading as crucial and wants the teachers to support the children to do more. He promises to continue to provide an enabling environment for education to thrive in the state.
It is important that we encourage our people and the teachers, because reading is not only for the students. Once you're a teacher, you're also a student because you're continuously reading. So please continue. You're doing well. I'm encouraging yourselves to do well. I make sure I pay your salaries as I went due and your leave allowance, so that you won't have any reason not to be happy going to school.
The highlights of the event include the unveiling of the Bring It On Africa program, which involves the Governor's School Debate Championship, from which representatives of Anambra State will be selected for a debate competition in Sri Lanka, the unveiling of the Community Reading Hub, the distribution of laptops, and handing over of about 1 million books to be kept in libraries of all public, private, and mission schools in the state.
When the news at 10 returns, the International Monetary Fund launches Regional Outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa, sees more economic recovery for the region this year.